All right, let's get recording and let's get started. Welcome everybody. It is the end of the semester. We are stressed out. We are tired. We are all kinds of feelings all bundled into one. And so that's why we thought we would spend a little bit of time at the end of the semester to talk about self-care. How are we practicing self-care for ourselves? And then how are we supporting our students with that self-reflection? So we'll do a little bit of self-reflection, and then we'll do some discussions on how we can support our students. And then we'll do some discussion at the end about planning and tracking your own self-care. Next slide, please. All right, so we've got Maria Barrientos here. She is a multi-subject tutor at Pasadena City College. Also a private tutor, and she's super interested in teaching and learning, and she volunteered to do one of these last year, believe it or not, and she has been planning and working on this presentation for a full year and implementing her own self-care strategies as well. So thank you so much, Maria. I really appreciate you. Next slide. Okay, so the way it's going to work today is that we're going to be talking about the importance of self-care for ourselves and our students for an hour, and so 4 o'clock, right? And then we're going to have like a little trolley stop where you can go if you have the rest of your Friday to get to. If you want to stick around from 4 to 4:30, Maria is going to show us how to go into an individual self-care plan in depth. We'll give it to you either way if you stay or you go, but if you want to stay, then we can dive a little more deeply into what that plan looks like, how to use it, and so on. I am going to be sending you links and documents in the chat as we go, so just keep your eyes on the chat. And also just do keep in mind that at around 3:40ish, we are going to have a breakout. So if you can't be a part of a breakout today for whatever reason, that is okay. Just tell me in the chat and I'll write your name down. So I will not put you in a breakout room. If you're double Zooming or doing 12 different things right now, just let me know. We won't put you in a breakout room. Next slide. Okay, so do get ready to participate. There's a couple of different ways for you to communicate with us. Type in that chat. That's why I'm asking you to introduce yourself there. It's super important for us to continue to communicate in that chat. So for now, find the chat, tell us your name, tell us your college, and tell us your role. You'll also be using that chat to answer questions that Maria might ask of you, but also sharing your own questions, your own self-care strategies, and maybe even answering other people's questions and responding to other people's self-care strategies. So use that as your community box so we can talk to each other at all times. Keep that going. That is a lively and wonderful place. All of the action, go back up one more slide. All of that action is going to happen in the bottom sort of like black block at the bottom of your screen, of your Zoom screen. You're just going to find that little place where it's got like a little smiley face with a plus sign hat. That's where all the action is going to happen. You can raise your hand if you want to ask a question. You can type in the chat, or what would be really cool is if you could use those reaction buttons. This is Maria's first time doing one of these presentations, so I'm sure she would appreciate a heart, maybe a thumbs up, a celebratory thing every so often. Use those. It helps keep you engaged and helps us know that you're all out there with your hearts beating, even though you're going to be on mute and a lot of you are going to have your cameras off, and that's totally fine. Next slide. So we're just going to start off with a couple of community agreements. These are agreements that'll help us figure out how to interact and learn best today. So we are going to explore some tools and some ideas and some data. So get ready to hear a little bit more about what self-care means and what the data say about it, and also to look at some cool tools. You may have your own ideas about self-care, and there's no universal way to do it. So please do tell us your confusion, tell us your questions, tell us your own strategies in the chat. This is not about Maria telling us how to take care of ourselves, but about Maria's facilitating a conversation so that we can all exchange ideas and learn from one another. So do share those confusions, questions, and suggestions. And then just be really kind, right? When somebody, suggests something or says something, give them some love, give them a little bit of encouragement. It's hard to speak up at the best of times. And Zoom, it's really hard. So do encourage each other to communicate and participate. So that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Maria, who's going to talk to us a little bit about self-care. Take it away.
Hi, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us today. Very excited. Um, why isn't it? There you go. So I'll be talking about self-care today. My objectives for today is by the end of the session, you will have some notes and ideas to guide you when it comes to defining self-care, practicing self-care as a student and peer educator, practice self-care reflection, and set up an individual self-care plan. If you have any questions, like Krista said, make sure you comment on the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer. So what is self-care? Um, we'll start with a quote from Maura Lawyer. Self-care means taking care of yourself so that you can, let me move my little, so you can be healthy, you can be well, you can do your job, you can help and care for others, and you can do all the things that you need to do and want to accomplish in one day. Pretty much that's self-care is necessary for us to run on an everyday, day to day. And why is it important? Self-care is, it helps us with our stress. So it can motivate us to do all the tasks that we have to do day to day. For example, it's a form to distress. It gives you a sense of control of the day or any activities that you're facing, and it leads to a happier life. It's like a cycle, right? You have so many goals, so many tasks to accomplish. So when you feel overwhelmed with so many things to do, you need some time to relax, take control of your life, and feel motivated to keep attacking those goals. Okay. So silent reflection, just for a second. Or a minute. Think of a recent time that a friend, relative, student, tutee was feeling stressed or overwhelmed. What did you do? How did you respond? This will be a silent reflection. So just think back of that one time during finals or holiday with family in which you assisted someone who was feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Yes, it is very important to step back and take control of our situation, to look back. Um, I mean, we are the ones that we take control of our lives, but sometimes life can take control of ourselves. So it's good to step back and see how we can help ourselves. Yes, both. Some self-care can also mean a nice drink, a nice walk. It's whatever works for us, right? And when we help others, then we offer a set of alternatives for them to decide what it is that they want to do. Thank you all for sharing. Now, stress is continuous. You need to maintain it. So just because we took care of ourselves just one day or one weekend, that doesn't mean that our stressors are going to accumulate and we're going to come back. So have an analogy for you all. Think about caring for your car. So once you have a car, once you buy a car, do you just take care of it one time? Or is it a continuous effort and assistance? For example, you have to wash the car. Sometimes it might rain, so it makes things a lot easier, but you still have to make the time to wash the car, keep track of the oil change, water checkup to make sure that the car has water and runs properly. You need strong grip tires, right? We cannot be using the same tires. We run into an accident. And then we need functioning brakes, and I don't know, there might be other little nuggets that we like to add to our car. Those fancy wipers, or the steering wheel cozy, or maybe we just need it to smell nice. Whatever it is, they're add-ons, right? And they make us happy. In the same sense, we are like that car. So we need preparation for the day. We need to be up and ready to start our day every single day. We need healthy meals so we can so we can function, so we can run the day. Stay hydrated. It prevents us from headaches and any other, um, eventually leading to any other health issues. We need to be well rested in order to be able to tackle our day. Take breaks, right? Because a good night's sleep is never enough for everything that we have to do in just one day. We need to take breaks in between, and we need to be ready for problem solving. So we need those extra motivators and extra habits to help us be ready for every single day and tackle our goals. So you can see how if you can put that much attention to a car because you can see that a car needs attention and needs care, you're more important than the car. You need attention, you need to take care of yourself. And just like you put in the time for the car, you need to put time for yourself as well. Okay. So let's think about caring for yourself. The medical journal generated a study which concluded that individuals could increase productivity in life expectancy free of primary and secondary diseases by monitoring your daily lifestyle. So there are 6 categories into this, right? There is healthy nutrition, meaning well-balanced meals, make sure that we have our food groups in every day. Physical activity, for example, going for a walk, exercising, going into a class. It can be a multiple classes, yoga, or at your home, popping a YouTube video, doing some yoga or any type of workout to stay physically active. Health responsibilities, this can be make sure that it's going to the doctor, making sure that you have your regularly checkups. If something hurts, do something about it, right? Interpersonal relationships, stay social. Make sure that you have someone you can count on, whether it's a family member or friends. Stress management, acknowledge your stressors, right? If something is bothering you, make sure that you do something about it. Figure out what it is and trying to take control over it. And self-actualization, this becomes to the you yourself, accept who you are, reach out to reach for your goals, and reflect on what motivates you so you can keep pushing through every single day. Okay, these are very important as part of your daily lifestyle, as part of self-care. Self-care, many times we think that it's all the fun activities, but it's the first stage is taking care about ourselves, our physical self, and then the fun and activities. Okay. Another statistic is from Harvard Business Publishing Education, a survey in 2018 of over 80,000 post-secondary students demonstrated that anxiety, stress, trouble sleeping, and depression are top factors affecting students' academic performance. 68% feel overwhelming anxiety, and 87% feel anxious, all everything that they have to do. If we think about our campus population, you can see that they're more than half. If we were in a classroom or a meeting, we can imagine that more than half of the people there are feeling anxious and stressed about everything that we have to do, right? Many times, yes, we might be taking way too much that we can handle, but other times it's because we don't know how to work out our anxiety or stress. Okay, our brain is like a sponge, and every so often we have to go and wrench it out. I like this quote. Okay. So we have to think about caring for ourselves, right? And this includes everyone. So sometimes students are a bit more in lean to fall into these habits, but I mean, I'm as a student and as a faculty and staff, I've fallen into this habit as well, right? I'm making sure that we have positive alternatives. Um, for example, healthy snacks between classes or or my breaks instead of skipping meals. Sometimes we're guilty that trying to make more time to do our tasks, to do our job well done, we sacrifice our lunch. that in extension, we're sacrificing ourselves because then we ran out of energy to do those goals that we attempted in the first place. Drinking water versus caffeine overdose, right? Yeah. Yay. um, Sleep. Make sure that you get a good night's sleep. You will do a lot better if you take a good night's sleep than an all-nighter, because then those all-nighters can catch up to you, and not just the next day. They'll catch up to you for the next 1, 2, 3 weeks, matter of fact. Physical activity versus inactivity. Believe it or not, physical activity can energize you a lot more than doing nothing, than taking some time and going for a walk or exercise will actually boost your energy rather than just sitting in the couch doing nothing, right? Clear headed and overwhelmed versus overwhelmed. Try to go for a walk, try to journal and get things out of your head so you're clear headed before you stress out and you feel overwhelmed. Okay. Now, do you consider that there's any other alternatives the students or yourself might be willing to consider, such as poor habits that we can substitute for healthier habits? If you have any suggestions, put them on the chat. I would like to know more about it.
I'd like to point out that there's actually been a lot of really great stress relief discussions happening in the chat. We talked about the power of community. Connie talked about spending time talking to friends, even about the small things. We had somebody talk about, Mata talked about, just coffee, chocolate, giving ourselves little treats. Sometimes a little disassociation. Sometimes you just gotta let it go and power through it, right? Staying quiet and still, detaching, being a listener. Wonderful, some other great discussions here about going for walks, putting your phone down, hanging out with your pets, connecting spiritually. Really wonderful strategies. Soft music. Thank you. Keep those going.
Yes, those are so awesome. At the end, I'll have an activity and that I will share with you. And I have two bunnies, and those are a fun activity that I like to do when I'm feeling stressed. But I'll talk to you more about it towards the end. But yeah, pets can also be something fun to help us relax. Thank you for sharing. Stress statistics, a study of 249 undergraduate students, varied by age and gender, investigated the interrelationship among academic stress, anxiety, time management, and leisure behavior, concluding that an effective strategy to reduce academic stress and anxiety is effective time management in conjunction with leisure activities. Meaning that whenever we're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, we need to figure out if we're managing our time properly and if we're actually taking time to do some fun activities, right? Sometimes we fall in the habit of thinking, I don't have time to hang out with someone when I have so much to do, right? Well, maybe hanging out with someone and having something fun to do will actually boost your energy to tackle the other activities that you still have to do, rather than just powering it through and trying to do everything all at once. We burned out, we stress too much. We have to take time away from all of our activities. Poor brain. Researchers believe that when one part of our brain is engaged, the other parts of our brain may not have as much energy to handle their own vital tasks, right? So if we're overwhelmed or there's a problem that it's consuming us, we need to be able to step away, do something fun, relax, go for a walk, whatever that means to you, right? And one way or another, psychology behind it all, you'll be able to process the problem, find a solution to the problem, and be more energized to continue with your tasks. Poor little brain tackling so many activities. Harvard Medical School narrates how day-to-day worries such as economic frustration, traffic jams, relationship misunderstandings, job or school problems can lead to health problems such as blood pressure, heart disease, and suppressing immune system, increasing cold and other illnesses. Build-up stress can then lead to anxiety and depression. Wow, that escalates so quickly. Unable to control and avoid the resource of stress, we can control or relaxation response, which common feature is the deep breath. So sometimes when we cannot even take time away from our activities, just a deep breath will help, right? Because it's like coming if you have so many stressors, so many activities, it's like you're drowning. Taking the deep breath is like coming out for air, right? So we need to, even simple task, one deep breath takes no more than 3 seconds. Okay. So sometimes it's hard for us to tackle all of our activities. And now, and I mean, traffic jams, so other people might take the bus or they have so many chores to complete before or after work. Now, we can imagine how stressful a student might feel when they have all of our tasks on top of homework, on top of midterms, misunderstanding with a friend, family obligations, one, two, three part-time jobs, taking care of siblings, right? This is why it's so important to assist our students and let them know of these tools or this particular habit of self-care. That way they will be more energized to continue with all their tasks. Okay. Brain care is self-care. The neuroscience of well-being. So if we take care of our brain, we take care of ourselves. If we take care of ourselves, we're taking care of our brain. Solution. Students and staff need to be provided with the tools necessary to help themselves cope with change and stress in healthy ways during college life so they can last throughout their daily life. Okay. And self-care is different for everyone. Okay. So here are just a few examples of what self-care could be, right? It doesn't have to be anything fancy or elaborate or too expensive or too time consuming. It can be simply going out for a coffee with a friend or relaxing with a book, that one book that you've been wanting to read. Sure, a nice trip with your friends or dinner, even hang out at the park. You go out for a nice walk, you see a park. Why not just take 5 more minutes and enjoy the fresh air? If you guys have any other suggestions, I would like to hear more about it. You can share on the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, we have some other great strategies in the chat. We've got Pomodoro. Woo woo! I'm a big fan. I put a link to the
Yes.
Pomodoro technique in there. We have drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated. I've learned to have this next to me, right? Audiobooks, prayer, meditation, stretching, lighthearted movies, and also holding silence. Is another suggestion that's come into the chat. So a lot of good stuff, and all of that was free or next to free too. So I appreciate that as well.
Thank you, Krista. That's very true. If it's free, why not, right? Let's see. Okay, examples of self-care. These are just a few categories of examples of what self-care implies to. So physical, emotional, and spiritual. In physical, we have exercise and health and a healthy diet. And under emotional, we have journaling and reflection, right? Getting things out of our head, trying to find our thoughts and ideas and how we feel, right? Because we often don't pay attention to how we feel or what we need to feel better throughout the day. Spiritual, right? It's meditating and gratitude. It was mentioned earlier, right? Taking those 5 minutes to meditate and clear your head. Gratitude. And gratitude, as I was doing the research, right? I've always been grateful all my life. I've been very very blessed, but I didn't consider practicing gratitude, like hands down, like writing down what I'm grateful for every single day. Life changer, right? Because then now you're aware. It makes you aware of the things that you're grateful for, and it motivates you, makes you happy, it motivates you. And that's what self-care is, right? Remember that cycle that we mentioned earlier? You have so many tasks to do, you feel overwhelmed, you have to find a way to make you to relax, to feel engaged, and find that motivation to keep going to a happier life. Okay. Reflect on your well-being. In two different studies, participants from different backgrounds and life changes, including individuals of neuromuscular diseases, were assigned to record their hustles, neutral life events, and gratitude list. Participants who recorded their daily moods, life appraisals, and health behaviors demonstrated emotional and interpersonal benefits. So there are big advantages about being aware of your stressors, your daily tasks, and the things that you're grateful for, because it's like the half glass, half full, half empty glass, right? We focus on all the disasters, all the stresses in our life, ignoring all the great things that we had experienced that day. So instead of focusing on the stressors and controlling our life, we can also focus on the things that we're grateful and they're making us happy. Okay. So these are just a few ways of practicing self-care. Eating a rich diet, fruits of vegetables, right? Making some time to prepare yourself a nice, healthy meal, getting enough quality sleep, right? Meditating, spending time in nature, going for the walk or the park. Start a grateful journal. Exercise. Take a dedicated breaks from electronics, right? Unplugging. Life, live in the present moment, right? These are just a few. There's so many more. Okay. If you have any, feel free to add them to the chat. I would like to know more about it. Thank you, Crystal. Yes. Grateful for this community.
Well, people are thinking, I'll just share what I just put in the chat. And I was visiting a family last night for dinner, and just before dinner, there's 4 of them, 2 kids, mom, dad, and they did something called a high-low cheer. And high-low cheer means that everybody goes around the table and says what their high point of the day was and what their low point of the day was, and then they give a cheer for something. And it was just the sweetest thing. It was like a 4-year-old, she had her high lows, and an 11-year-old, she had her high lows. Mom, dad, I shared mine. It's a really, really wonderful sort of like daily practice that they have for consistent self-reflection. Just reminded me of what you just said about how awareness and gratitude helps us stabilize ourselves.
Yes. I never realized at the dinner time, yeah, it will be nice to do that during dinner. I mean, I've fallen into the mistake of just doing that during family dinner, during special events, birthdays, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And it's such a wonderful experience. And it never occurred to me, why not do it daily? Why not doing it every single day? Yeah. I mean, if it makes us feel good, why not ask for more? Thank you for sharing. Ooh, 1, 2. Okay. And so many times we think that it will be too hard or we need a lot of energy or time, but we can start simple. It's never too late, right? You can start with a deep breath. If you feel overwhelmed, if you still have 1 more hour from work, if you still have to pick up the kids from class, or you have something else to do today and you're already tired, take a deep breath, right? You can stretch. You can just take 5 minutes to just move your body, just move around, walk, or dance, right? Express yourself. take some fresh air, hydrate, or take a break. Take a break to meditate, take a nap, watch a TED talk, anything that will help you come back to your happy self, to your happy world from all the stressors that you're facing at the moment. So, reflecting on your well being, meaning you have to reflect on your health, your daily mood, your stress levels, your exercise, your healthy diet, and your sleeping cycle, right? So we often say, oh, yeah, healthy, I feel good. But are we really healthy? Have we been checked out lately? Oh, yeah, I feel happy, I'm okay. But not so long ago, we might have been feeling a little bit stressed, overwhelmed, or sad, right? We have to figure out why we were feeling this way. Or we say, I exercised. I went for a walk 2 weeks ago, right? But it should be a daily habit, right? Eating healthy, right? I don't eat my vegetables as lately I've had, but not as usual. And people will tell me, you eat healthy. I'm like, sure, I have my vegetables. I mean, I had a vegetable last Monday. And then I realized it's Friday, right? Like we fall into the habit. Yeah, I had a salad the other day. Well, we have to eat our vegetables every single day. Or if we go to sleep, yeah, we slept, but was it enough, right? We need to make sure that we're aware of our sleeping cycle, that we sleep the right amount of hours that we have to. Um, Reflect on your well-being. What makes you happy, right? So this is the second part, the fun activities, family time, hanging out with friends, exploring nature, reading, your personal time, right? Whatever is going to make you happy so you can feel motivated, so you can feel energized to continue doing all those tasks, work that you need to do, right? It feels motivated. Self-care is the ability of individuals, family, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and to cope with illnesses and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. Meaning that we don't have to go to the doctor to for us to help ourselves feel better, right? If something hurts, yes, right? If it's time for your checkup, yes. But when it comes to stress, when it comes to overwhelm, when it comes to feeling sad or anxious, we are the ones that take care of ourselves. We are the ones that are in control. We're the ones that we manage our stress. Okay. So now into the fun part. We're going to start thinking about others now that we have thought about ourselves. This will be the last chance if you don't want to go into a breakthrough. Any objections?
Just let me know in the chat if you can't go into a breakout room. That's what we're going to go into next. So, okay, thanks, Rebecca. Anybody else? Just let me know.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to be breaking down into break rooms, right? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Introduce yourself. Identify which room you are in, and then we're going to come back and discuss. Okay, we're going to have a few questions towards the end after our discussion. We're going to be helping our students. Okay, so you'll be able to follow along with the group activity. Crystal will be posting it on the chat or on the breakout group, so you guys can discuss as a group. Yeah.
Yes, but you're going to go over the slides, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So we're going to
put the link to the group work activity in the chat, and then Maria is going to go over the instructions, and then while she's doing that, I'll be making the breakout rooms.
Thank you. So first of all, we have in room number 1, we have agitated Annie. Annie logs into the center asking to see a tutor and seems agitated. A tutor greets her and she quickly asks for help to prepare for her test, which is in 2 hours. She mentions that her shift went late and so she was not able to have lunch. She plans to study for 2 hours in preparation for the test after a shift without lunch. How would you advise the students? We also have overwhelmed Omar. Omar requests tutoring on a Friday evening and seems overwhelmed about his test on Monday. He asks if there is tutoring available during the weekend since he plans to study the entire weekend. You have been tutoring the student multiple times during the semester. How would you advise the student to practice self-care in preparation for the test? On room number 3, we have pessimist Penelope. Penelope arrives to the center after classes in the first day of school. She points out that she registered for one too many classes. She pulls out her syllabus, pointing out she must buy an expensive math textbook and must write a 30-page final research paper for English by herself. She seems to believe she doesn't have enough time or resources to be successful this semester. How can you encourage Penelope? Which resources would you provide? And then we have on room number 4, Maria. Maria and her sister just migrated from Nicaragua. Maria seems to visit the center by herself while her sister spends time with her new friends. Maria sits by herself, working on her homework without requesting assistance. Finally, she quickly walks to the front desk requesting for an English tutor. She claims she can read the book, but doesn't have the words to write an essay. How can you assist Maria to write her essay? How do you welcome her to the new school? Okay, so join your breakout room to discuss, and then you can come back and we'll discuss as a group, as a bigger group. If you have any other questions.
Any questions? I am setting up the rooms now. And Maria, I'm putting you in a room to even out one of the rooms. So.
Okay.
All right. Any questions before we go? All right, we'll see you back here in 10 minutes. Is that right, Maria?
Yes.
All right, see y'all back here in 10 minutes.
Okay, so now it's part of sharing, right? Let's go over who helped who and what you discussed in your group, what techniques you came up with to help your student. So first, tell us who you helped, the student, what was their problem, and what you came as a group to assist the student. Whoever feels comfortable sharing, either in the chat or you can unmute yourselves. Can they unmute themselves?
Yeah, you can unmute yourself. How about, is anybody volunteer to go first, or should I pick out a student?
Volunteer.
All right, I know Zoom volunteers are sometimes a little harder to come by. How about agitated Annie? How did y'all help agitated Annie?
It was group number 1. It was our group, and Brian recommend that he's gonna, Annie would practice as much as she can in 2 hours that left before her test. And I also added that I recommend her to take a break, eat something, just take the restroom if she need, and then focus on her study. So all her attention goes to the material she need to prepare. And that was a recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. So you reminded her that she had a body and she needed to take care of it. I know you're stressed, but you gotta eat and pee.
Right. Just like the car. If the car doesn't have gas, it cannot run. It cannot drive. Thank you for sharing.
We have time for one more. I'd like to hear from Overwhelmed Omar. How'd y'all help Overwhelmed Omar?
Well, I know that Camille and Jocelyn both had great ideas. And Jocelyn suggested that she would work with Omar on planning on a plan for the weekend. And it's true. I shared that a lot of times students don't have a plan. They're just so consumed in chaos.
Right.
And so Jocelyn suggested that that she helped Omar with a plan for the weekend of studying, and Camille had some great thoughts about Omar wouldn't, that he would take some breaks and take care of himself. And I always like to just kind of be, quiet for a moment with a student, and then from the quiet, then go into that and kind of break things down into, in other words, not to look at ahead, but just to look at the moment. What can we do in the moment?
I love that. So creating that space, and I know Brian was talking about that in the chat earlier too, like creating that space, listening, just letting him talk a little bit, and then helping him create a plan so that he doesn't overwhelm himself. He gets some breaks in over the weekend. Pomodoro technique is a great one for weekends also. So thank you all so very much. Okay, so now it's my turn again. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
Yes.
So thank you so much. As we go into the final session and our last half an hour, just kind of reflect on, again, like how that self-awareness that Maria has been talking about, right? Like, it's not about fixing, it's not about doing it right, it's not about doing it wrong necessarily, but start with the awareness and the reflection. How are you caring for yourself? What are your strategies? What do you do? What's working? What additional strategies might you consider? And then, you know, how are we discussing self-care with our students as well, especially in this time of incredible anxiety, not only through COVID, but going back, it's going to be so stressful and so terrifying for so many of us. How do we continue to stay present for ourselves? How do we continue to stay present for our students and just keep that awareness up and continue to reflect and think about what we could be doing better, what we're doing well, and what we're doing that maybe isn't working as well now. So thank you so much. If you have to go, go. If you are going to stay though, next slide, we are going to give you one final handout. And Mata, if you can stay just 2 more seconds, I'm going to give you a really cool handout. This is a self-care tracker. Oops, I just sent that only to Mata. So here is a self-care tracker. I'm putting it in the chat now. So we're going to work on this self-care tracker from 4 to 4:30. If you need to go, check out this cool self-care tracker that Maria put in there to help us raise that awareness for ourselves and for others. Come back next week. We're going to do a Writing Center roundtable. So at the Writing Center roundtable, it'll be a final reflection on our year of COVID madness, what has gone well, and what are we going to take with us into the fall as things start shifting yet again. So if you're a Writing Center professional, we'd love to have you. If you're not a Writing Center professional, we'd love to have you all anyway. We're really going to be thinking about what have we learned, what do we take with us, and how do we start wrapping our arms around what the fall might mean for all of us, because I know that that's just right there in our minds, right out there in our peripheral vision, if not right dead smack in front of our faces. So come on back next week. It's our final peer education, peer power series workshop for the semester, and then next semester you'll be the stars. So if you got to go, download this, have a great day, and if you're going to hang out, go ahead and go to the next slide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for joining.